Left versus right. Us versus them. While we pay to keep our politicians fighting, how do we, the people, rise up and solve the great challenges of our time? We do it by embracing freedom and liberty. There may be no such thing as a free lunch, but this hour is as close as it gets. Welcome to A Free Solution.
All right, welcome to A Free Solution. I'm Kevin Wilson, your host for today. Thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate y'all being here. We're live here on WYSL until 1 p.m., which means that you, the listener, can call in. Give us a call, 585-346-3000, or leave your comments online on the Free Solution Facebook page, Free Solution YouTube channel, or the Kevin Wilson pages, wherever you're listening today. And shout down the line to our friends over at WACK out in Newark. Thank you all for listening here too. All right, and today we have another guest. I know we don't usually do guests on Mondays, but this we're happy to have Mike Falk, who's in the WYSL studio, and he is the Town of Lima Supervisor.
Hello, Kevin.
Hi, welcome to the show, Mike.
Thank you.
Yeah, glad you could make it on. And so we'll start out with just Mike, who are you? And then how'd you end up getting into, being a town supervisor? How'd you end up getting involved in your town?
Well, I'm a self-employed electrician, Gulf War vet, former captain, U.S. Army. And I was there operating my own business and volunteering for things around Lima, like the Crossroads Festival. And a couple of the folks who were on the town and village boards came to me and said, hey, the supervisor's retiring. Wouldn't you consider running? And so I did. That was in 2017. I ran on the conservative ticket, and my opponent was endorsed by both the Republicans and the Democrats. And I beat her 2-1. And here I am 4 years later running again unopposed.
Wow, that's fantastic. And that is so interesting. It's something that, our producer clued me into. So you ran on the conservative ticket, why not try to run on a Republican line or Democratic line? What made you run for, what is a third party in our state?
Well, that particular year and every year, the Conservative Party in Livingston County, it's a countywide party, not individual townships. They have to run their caucuses and nominating sessions first. So always good to go and get in front of the conservatives to make sure that they get a chance to have a voice too, and to see that you're really, representing that sort of conservative value set. I'm lucky in that both times, both in 2017 and this year, that they have picked me to run on their line. The first time when I ran as a blank. I did not have any party affiliation at all. After the election, I joined the Conservative Party. And then this past fall, I switched over to the Republican Party.
Right on. And, respect for running as a blank. I know that is tough to do. Like my libertarian friends have run as, non-party affiliated before too, or just independent nominating petitions. So it ain't easy to put yourself out there as a true independent. But so I get why you'd work with the Conservative Party, work with the Republican Party to do that. And when you say that, you shared the Conservative Party values, when you were running back in 2017, what sort of values apply at the town level?
So at the town level, you look for the being fiscally conservative. You have a town budget that is finite and guiding all of the different areas to maintain within that. A town supervisor is the chief financial officer for the township. That's the principal job. And so you're the one who's signing checks, monitoring the spending, making sure that everything, glides into zero with maybe a little bit over to put in the savings for next year.
Right on. So yeah, so it's if something gets overspent or like that falls on you. So you've got to really make sure that you're not kind of asleep at the wheel, and making sure that when you guys are doing projects, when you're moving ahead with spending approved by you guys have a town board there, right? And so you have to make sure that goes well.
Right. So it's at town government. The town board is a board of directors. So you have the supervisor and 4 other board members who all have equal votes. It's not a sort of a dictatorship kind of style like you would have in a village setting. The town board, approves the budget, sets everything up for the next year. But the reality is that with, we're a small town of about 4,600 people total, which includes the population in the village. And the bulk of our money that we're taking in goes to plowing snow and fixing roads. Mm-hmm. That's the lion's share of what we're doing.
So those are like kind of the 2 big duties of a town is plowing the snow, making sure the roads are salted, and make sure that things are drivable in your town, and maintaining, I assume, other types of infrastructure too.
That depends.
Not much there? Yeah.
So our particular township, we own 4 very small water districts outside of the village, and our town crew is responsible for maintenance for those also. Although we are slowly moving toward transitioning them to the Livingston County Water and Sewer Authority. They've already taken over the billing. We've switched over to remote meter reading, et cetera. And there will come a point where the infrastructure will likely be turned over to them also.
Gotcha. And again, for folks listening and who, again, they sort of understand town structure and county structure, like what's the advantages of doing that? Just scaling at the county level becomes more efficient. Is that like why you might do that?
Well, so we're in Livingston County. The Livingston County Water and Sewer Authority is its own entity. Up until 2 years ago, it was a part of the county government. Now it's on its own. And so when you have an authority like that, they can, do small amounts of things across borders. They're not limited to just within the boundaries of the county. For us, we are purchasing water for a couple of our districts from the city of Rochester because the water mains run right around the edge of our township. Mm-hmm. And the rate is reasonable. We're also purchasing water for 2 of the districts from the Monroe County Water Authority, which the rate is considerably higher. We don't have an awful lot of negotiating power because we are a very small township, but the Livingston County Water and Sewer Authority has a lot more negotiating power. They have a lot of existing agreements and a much larger base. And so the bigger voice can result in far less cost.
Gotcha. That makes sense to me. So they negotiate on your behalf to also like maybe purchase water from like the city of Rochester and the Monroe Water Authority as well. Right.
They can. That's the way that we're headed. But right now we're still in the agreements that we negotiated ourselves.
Fantastic. All right. Yeah. Well, that's interesting because again, this is one of those town issues. It doesn't. I don't see it much living in the city of Rochester, but I'm sure for some of your residents, when you're concerned about water costs and access, that becomes a thing and something that you have to plan for the future. So when we come back, we'll talk about a couple more of those challenges, those developments in town government in their relationship with the county and maybe the state. So when we come back, we'll continue talking with Mike Falk, who is the supervisor of the town of Lima. All right, we'll be back in just a few minutes.
Your business relies on computers and technology to operate. Slow, unreliable networks and servers can cause unplanned downtime and affect your bottom line. The experts at Simple Tech Innovations are here to help. Their preventative maintenance program ensures that your computers and network are kept up to date and monitored for any issues, keeping your business running smoothly. They also help clients achieve HIPAA, PCI, and New York State cybersecurity compliance to keep your network safe and secure. Whatever your business IT needs are, SimpleTech Innovation should be your first call. They've won the Best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A-plus Better Business Bureau rating. Call them today for a free consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. SimpleTech Innovations.
The Finger Lakes Castle team is in its 7th decade of factory direct service to the service professional. From cleaning the ins and outs of your vehicle to keeping you on the road, Castle's got you covered. Castle makes streak-proof glass cleaner, FDA-registered sanitizers, and EPA-registered hospital-grade disinfectants. Remember, when you need to keep it clean, use what the pros use. Castle. Accept no substitutes.
Castle keeps it clean.
A message from the National Police Association. It used to be that any able-bodied person would offer to assist a police officer in danger. Now, passers-by are more likely to take a video. There's a better use for your phone when an officer's in trouble. Call 911. Tell the operator where you are and what you see. Then, start your video to provide evidence later. To learn more about how you can assist law enforcement, visit nationalpolice.org. That's nationalpolice.org.
Why do businesses choose to move their website from Wix and Squarespace to SimpleTech Innovations? Maybe it's their excellent customer service or attention to detail. Maybe it's their ability to give a truly customized solution. Or perhaps they just like the fact that SimpleTech is a local small business that builds great relationships with its clients. Whatever the reason may be, you can rest assured knowing that the local team at SimpleTech has your best interest in mind when building or updating your website. They're hands-on and love helping customers achieve their goals. But don't take my word for it. They've won the Best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A-plus Better Business Bureau rating. If your website doesn't match your dreams or isn't achieving your goals, give the professionals at SimpleTech Innovations a call today for a consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. SimpleTech Innovations.
A free solution.
All right, welcome back to A Free Solution. I'm Kevin Wilson, host today. Thank you so much for joining us. Again, we're here live on WYSL until 1 p.m. So give us a call if you want to participate in the conversation. 585-346-3000. That's 585-346-3000. You have questions, want to participate in the discussion with the town supervisor of Lima, Mike Falk. Again, Mike, thank you for being on the program. And, so before we talk about maybe some of the challenges and other stuff going on with Lima, like maybe your relationship with the state, the county, all that stuff, let's talk about what is Lima known for? What sort of activity do you have going on there? And, just describe your town and maybe some of your favorite things about it.
Well, so Lima is the crossroads of Western New York, centered around sort of the intersections of routes 5 and 20 and 15A. Lima was originally named Charleston, and there was an influx of settlers from Old Lyme, Connecticut that came in the 1800s and changed the name to Lima. It has nothing to do with Peru or any of those things, nor any large quantity of the vegetable, the lima bean. So,
good to know.
Lima has been home to a number of things, including the Genesee Wesleyan Seminary, which when it moved to Syracuse and became Syracuse University. Now we're home to the Elam Bible Institute, which is an accredited college. We have a branch of the Genesee Community College there. We are home to the very famous American Hotel, 101 years in the Reynolds family, with the largest urinal in the free world and 120 soups on the menu. Lima is a farming community, by and large, and the preponderance of the assessed value in the township is outside of the village. It's 72% outside. Over time, Lima was full and bustling in the late 60s, early 70s, and then businesses started to move out, and the downtown started to go down and all of that. Over the last 4 years, the downtown has picked up. And so we've almost no space left for any businesses to come in. We have a new barbecue shop, Johnny B's Custom Barbecue. We have a wedding photographer that's come in. We have Right Works that is doing custom sewing and embroidery and such. We have Copytown that provides copying and services and all that to everybody around here, along with the We Shop, which is a women-owned, women entrepreneurial business that has a number of women-owned businesses represented inside. Brand new bakery in Vanilla Lane, a coffee house that's coming in September that is Milk and Honey. The grocery store left several years ago and left us with a big empty building, which has been bought by the Morocco brothers out of Syracuse, and they are renovating it for a brand new dual branded Family Dollar Tree store with an additional tenant. Things are it's nice to see everything full and moving around. Good to see downtown bustling. Annually, Lima has, although not for the past 2 years, a German festival, which takes place out on one of our country roads on a Sunday. Usually a couple thousand people, authentic German food and such, always the second Sunday in June. And then there is the Crossroads Festival. Our Crossroads Festival this year is running from the 28th of July to August 1st. Townwide parade on the 28th, fundraiser concerts the evening of the 29th, and then free music Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, along with bed races on Main Street, a euchre tournament, a barbecue competition, pony rides, petting zoo, human car wash, craft wine and beer tasting, and all of that stuff. limafest.org for anybody that wants to look up the schedule. We couldn't hold it last year, but boy, we are going to hold it this year.
You got to make up for the lost time this year, right? So it's going to be extra good. That's
yeah.
Sorry, did you say bed races?
Absolutely. So we race beds on Main Street. We start at the courthouse, and it's a 5-person team, 1 riding, 4 pushing. You have to have a pillow, pillowcase, teddy bear, a bed, etc. The bed does not have to have a predetermined amount of wheels, and that is a lot of times good because sometimes the wheels fall off. But half a block to the baskets, the person riding pops up, shoots 5 baskets. Come halfway back, there is a vat of some sort of yellow or green fluid, and then a very small bottle with a tiny neck and a bedpan. And it is a relay to fill the small bottle with the tiny neck from the vat of fluid with the bedpan. When it's full, then you finish the foot race.
All right. So, I mean, that sounds amazing, and I've never seen it. Now I feel like I really need to. Is there a story behind like why the bed racing, why the bedpan?
I think it's just something that has been done for decades in Lima, and it was invented as part of the festival system, and it is unique to say the least. But Saturday, the 31st of August at 1 p.m., right there at the Crossroads is where it will be.
August 31st, 1 p.m. All right. No, that sounds like an activity heading out there. That's worth heading out there for. That sounds amazing. I'd love to watch that. But that's great. So thank you so much for sharing so much about the history of Lima and where it came from, and some of the festivals there too. And I know the German Fest, and I have some friends who make that out every year. So that's awesome. And I know we have a couple minutes left before the break, but I know you said that the town of Lima too had kind of started to decline in 60s and 70s. I mean, was that decline just do you attribute that to the regional decline that we saw all around, Western upstate New York, just people leaving from the economic climate, or is it something specific to your town?
I like to think of it as more of like a pendulum. At that point, the places around us had not built up very much at all. Lima had everything. And then slowly these other things happened, including the 390 expressway, which diverted an awful lot of traffic, because otherwise when you were headed south on 15A,
right,
and 15. So 390 made it a lot easier to get to Avon and Livonia, and some of those places started to build up more. And I think that was a big contributing factor.
Right. I mean, you guys are, the crossroads, but, if you have a major highway going another direction, then
exactly
fewer people can go through. Okay. That makes total sense. But now you said it's a pendulum, so it's starting to swing the other way. And that's awesome. You've listed off all these great businesses that are starting to emerge in your town. We'll see if we have enough time to talk about this, but how do you, as a town supervisor, make sure that these towns are, or these businesses are set up for success in your role as supervisor and as part of the town?
Well, I work very.
That's a big question.
Yeah, it is a big question. I work very closely with the County Economic Development Office to make sure that the businesses know that there is technical assistance available and sometimes monetary assistance available. Livingston County's Dream of 8 competition has yielded 3 winners for Lima, one being Johnny B's Custom Barbecue, one being the Milk and Honey Cafe, and then Easton's Food and Drink, which is just outside of the village where Jack and Jill's, famously was. Those kind of things. The Dream of 8 competition brings out business plan and all these other things and helps to get stuff refined, and then provides money to help with infrastructure for the business, the refrigerators and freezers and the things that you would need to operate a restaurant or some other kind of effort.
Right. So some of the big capital investments that they need to make, if they're set up for success and then they have that assistance there, they're more likely to stay there, thrive, and provide services to your town long term.
Right.
Right. That's the idea. Right on. Love it. All right. So I think we're going to go to break now because I want to start a new topic before we head out. But when we come back, I want to talk about, again, what your relationship is with kind of New York State, and where you work with our representatives and state government there, other challenges and successes that you've seen in your town too. So thanks again for joining us. We're talking with Mike Falk, who's the Lima Town Supervisor, and we'll be back in just a few minutes on A Free Solution.
Fly the flag, stand for freedom. AM 1040 Avon, Rochester, FM 92.1 Rochester, and FM 95.5 Spencerport.
Here's the latest forecast from the News 10 NBC Weather Center for tonight. partly cloudy skies out there. Temps staying in the 60s. As we look ahead to Tuesday, very warm and humid, mid-80s, maybe some upper 80s out there. There'll be an isolated thunderstorm in the afternoon. Better chance for a storm Tuesday night. Could produce a couple of downpours. We've got to watch out for that. That'll cool us down. We'll have temps in the 70s Wednesday, morning clouds and showers, afternoon sunshine. I'm Rich Cornelia, WYSL.
Summertime means new good weather adventures with a little help from Victor Chevrolet. Make memories this summer in your 2021 Equinox all-wheel drive LS. Lease it for just $269.95 per month for 39 months. Or enjoy the versatility of a tough and roomy 2021 Trailblazer LS front-wheel drive. Lease for only $179.95 a month for 39 months. You could haul plenty of people and cargo in your 2021 Chevy Silverado 1500 custom double cab pickup. Lease it for just $389 a month for 36 months. All these deals include all applicable factory rebates, incentives, and discounts. 10,000 miles per year, 25 cents for each additional mile. $2,500 cash or trade. First payment, tax, acquisition, bank, and DMV fees due at signing for all leases. Lessee responsible for repair and maintenance. Security deposit is waived. Must have existing lease and household. Tier 1 credit approval required. And all deals end 7/31/2021. Victor Chevy needs your trade. Find new roads at Victor Chevrolet, Route 96 in Victor. Visit victorchevrolet.com.
FM Talk. What's with those injury attorney TV ads these days? Seems like they're in a race to see who can put more lawyer faces on the screen. Even with an 80-inch TV, you can't make them out. What's the point? Maybe they're trying to impress with who's biggest, but it ends up looking like an undergrad photo in your school yearbook, or maybe a dating site from hell. Of course, the one attorney that matters to you is the one who's helping you put your life back together after a personal injury or a motorcycle accident, or handling your DWI defense. Christopher Johnson makes you feel like you're his only client, because when you meet with him, your case gets 100% of his attention. Write this number down. Keep it in your car. 415-3803. 415-3803. At this number, instead of getting lost in the crowd, you'll get individual attention, integrity, experience, and expertise. Write it down. 415-3803. Put the power of one on your legal team. Stay safe, be healthy, drive sober. Christopher Johnson, attorney. Personal injury, car or motorcycle accidents, DWI defense.
Your business relies on computers and technology to operate. Slow, unreliable networks and servers can cause unplanned downtime and affect your bottom line. The experts at Simple Tech Innovations are here to help. Their preventative maintenance program ensures that your computers and network are kept up to date and monitored for any issues, keeping your business running smoothly. They also help clients achieve HIPAA, PCI, and New York State cybersecurity compliance to keep your network safe and secure. Whatever your business IT needs are, Simple Tech Innovations should be your first call. They've won the best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. Call them today for a free consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. Simple Tech Innovations.
When you need contracting work done around your home or business, it's frustrating to find someone with the expertise, experience, and versatility that's just right. Chamberlain Construction to the rescue. Chamberlain's done it all, commercial and residential, and you name it, Chamberlain can do it. Roofing, siding, kitchens, baths, decks, porches, remodeling, bump outs, stores, garages, with the best in materials and workmanship. Over 30 years of reliable, ethical experience anywhere in our region. Chamberlain Construction, Dansville, 370-5959, 370-5959. Contact Lee Chamberlain, lee@chamberlainconstruction.com. Spelled Chamber, L-I-N.
Imani, time for school, baby. Imani, time for school. Imani, it's time.
A different couch, a different floor, the backseat of a car. Over 2,000 Rochester school-age children are homeless, but now there is hope. The Open Door Mission Cold Water House for moms and their children. opendoormission.com/doves.
Livingston County Pizza Company and Gluten-Free Bakery offers a great selection of pies, cookies, and dinner rolls. Call 226-9575 and place your order. Livingston County Pizza Company and Gluten-Free Bakery in Avon.
WYSL.
All right, welcome back to A Free Solution. I'm Kevin Wilson, your host for today. Thank you so much for joining us. Again, we're live here on WYSL, which means that you, the listener, can call in. Give us a call, 585-346-3000. That's 585-346-3000. Or leave your comments online. If they're good, I'll read them off on the air. We're talking today with Lima Town Supervisor Mike Falk. And, we talked about some of the great stuff going on in Lima right now. But, I do want to talk about some of the challenges, too. So, Mike, what are some of the big challenges that you guys still face in Lima? It could be with the state or just in terms of managing growth. Like what are the next big things that you're trying to tackle as town supervisor, either in this term or the next?
Well, we have outside of the village, we have a few areas where there are some water issues. So one corner of the township, there was something that happened 15, 16 years ago, and everybody lost their wells. And so we've a portion of the population hauling water in tanks from the filling station over in West Bloomfield, behind their Subarus and everything else so that they can have water for their homes. Opposite corner of the township, there's a very large gravel yard, and when they pump the gravel pit out, sometimes folks don't have any water left for their wells. We also have the hamlet of South Lima is divided between Livonia and Lima, right down the middle of the road. And South Lima is the densest populated area outside of the village. Houses are actually stacked in very tightly, sometimes behind each other. And so all of those houses are on wells and leach fields. And so when small properties like that, things start to interact. So townwide water is something that we are very, very much looking at. There's a survey process that we have to go through, and that we have kicked off to see that the interest is there, and the USDA funds portions of these projects, but they need to understand income levels and stuff like that to determine what their funding is. So part of the survey, which the town doesn't see, but the USDA does, is the income of folks in those homes. We're actually in a good place doing the survey this year because last year incomes were down with the COVID debacle, and the funding level might actually come up a little bit.
Gotcha. So just so I'm clarifying it for myself and for my listeners, right? If there's a higher need in that area, the USDA might pay for all or a greater portion of the infrastructure necessary to do that. Otherwise, like, you guys would have to find a way to do it yourselves.
It's still going to be a very large bond, but when you form a water district, it is a district to benefit a certain group of people, and that certain group of people are the only ones by law who can pay for it. So the USDA might put up, just for argument's sake, we'll say 45%. 55% of the project then would be bonded and on the backs of the folks who are benefiting from having those water mains for either for water for their homes or farms or businesses, or from the fire protection with the hydrants at the street.
Gotcha. So they would have like a special tax. I don't know if I'm using the right language on this, but a special tax or fee attached to their property taxes.
Correct.
and then right. So they could have that town water.
Yep.
Okay. Right. So that, I think that's pretty straightforward. With this type of stuff too, how do you, how do you determine that type of infrastructure is sustainable in the long term, both environmentally and fiscally, right? Like, one of my kind of things that I like to read about is places like strong towns where they're like, well, sometimes you build this infrastructure and the federal government gives you some assistance, but 40 years later, when you have to repay for that and redo this infrastructure, that there isn't an adequate tax base to be able to pay for that. Is that something that you guys are considering as you're evaluating these projects?
You have to. There's a blend of operating the water district, paying for your costs, and sort of putting money away for the future for the occasional emergency, because there will always be the occasional emergency. And then there is that 38-year cycle that the comptroller's office tells us is the life expectancy of a pipe in the ground. And so after that, you have to, be cognizant that you're going to have to start replacing pieces or do wholesale replacement, every so many years. That's not to say that, at the end of the 38-year period that the entire thing just melts into dust and that's it. But you have to have adequate money to do all of your maintenance and all those things, and be able to, again, go back and rebond and fix major portions of it. So if there are not enough people connected, if it's, a very tiny water district with only a few users and, it's at the end of the road, that can be a very difficult thing.
Right. If you have to run miles of pipes out to them and there's only a handful of people, it becomes either very expensive to repair or impossible in some cases.
Correct. And that's why larger districts make that easier. It just the more properties and people that are involved in the district, the easier it is to maintain the district. You simply have more of a base to draw from, and eventually everybody's main is going to have to be replaced, and everybody's lateral from the main to their house will have to be replaced, at some day. Our village is going through some of that right now, where they are going to be running right down 15A from Lima Christian School all the way to the south end of the village, right through the Four Corners, with new water mains. And they are sending out letters encouraging everybody to replace their own service laterals, which the customer actually owns that piece. So that would be the time to do it. Otherwise, because everything will be dug up. Much easier and far less costly to replace that pipe that goes from the main into the house, especially if it's the old iron stuff, which a lot of it is, while the ground is open.
Yes, well, it's already being done anyway, so you don't have to bring a new crew out when there's a problem and suddenly it's an emergency and you got to get it done quick, right?
Right.
So you don't want that. And, I had a comment online too from Peter Edward. He said, same thing for high-speed internet, and just curious if how you guys are adapting to that too. There's a lot of people now, especially post-COVID, who are looking to move to towns like Lima, but the requirement is high-speed internet. So how are you guys addressing that issue, if at all?
Correct. So what we are doing is Livingston County did apply for a USDA Reconnect grant for the agricultural areas of the county. This is a grant that you partner up with a provider, and in our case, that's empireaccess.com. And it was awarded almost 2 weeks ago. Senator Schumer was in Livingston County announcing $11.3 million came in, and Livingston County is putting up another $4 initially. So Empire Access will be pulling fiber throughout the county to the worst of the worst areas for internet service. And these are the farms at the end of small roads and, pockets where none of the other providers wanted to go.
You say would none of the other providers want to go? Do you think because someone listening might be like, well, why should the state or the county pay for this? Shouldn't these guys have to pay for it themselves? Is this the only way to be able to get high-speed internet to those locations?
Well, so several years ago, the same thing happened at the south end of the county. And so the towns of Portage and Ashen and Dansville and part of Nunde have Armstrong fiber that's been pulled throughout their area. Now, the other companies who are losing their market share down there, they're also pulling fiber. So the phone company and the cable company deciding that they had to move ahead with the technology. The winner then is the consumer, because now you have everybody competing for their business, and the fiber optic technology is truly where we need to be as far as working from home.
Yeah, excellent. All right, so thanks again. We're joined by Lima Town Supervisor Mike Falk here on A Free Solution. Again, if you have your comments, leave them online or give us a call, 585-346-3000. If you have questions for Mike, we'll be back in just a few minutes on A Free Solution.
Why do businesses choose to move their website from Wix and Squarespace to SimpleTech Innovations? Maybe it's their excellent customer service or attention to detail. Maybe it's their ability to give a truly customized solution. Or perhaps they just like the fact that SimpleTech is a local small business that builds great relationships with its clients. Whatever the reason may be, you can rest assured knowing that the local team at SimpleTech has your best interest in mind when building or updating your website. They're hands-on and love helping customers achieve their goals. But don't take my word for it. They've won the best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. If your website doesn't match your dreams or isn't achieving your goals, give the professionals at SimpleTech Innovations a call today for a consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. SimpleTech Innovations.
Hi, my name is Ryan Bourne.
And I'm Danica Bourne.
And we're the owners of South Coast Tax. We would like to thank our Lord for protecting us from evil. Psalm 91 states, "He is my refuge and my fortress, for he will rescue us from every trap and protect us from deadly disease."
South Coast Tax are Christian-based tax accountants and attorneys who specialize in releasing bank levies, wage garnishments, and filing complex tax returns. We are the leaders in acceptance of offers and compromise with awesome results.
We are also a small firm who will treat you like family and not just a number.
Call us today at 1-800-TAX-1176 for a free consultation, and we'll take the time to explain all of the programs that you qualify for in order to allow you a fresh start.
In John 8:36, so if the Son sets you free, you will be free indeed. And one way we can achieve that is by being debt-free. So let us help you today. Call us at 1-800-TAX-1176, and together we can help achieve this goal by putting the IRS tax debt behind you for good. Again, that number is 1-800-TAX-1176.
Your business relies on computers and technology to operate. Slow, unreliable networks and servers can cause unplanned downtime and affect your bottom line. The experts at SimpleTech Innovations are here to help. Their preventative maintenance program ensures that your computers and network are kept up to date and monitored for any issues, keeping your business running smoothly. They also help clients achieve HIPAA, PCI, and New York State cybersecurity compliance to keep your network safe and secure. Whatever your business IT needs are, SimpleTech Innovations should be your first call. They've won the best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. Call them today for a free consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. SimpleTech Innovations.
A free solution.
Welcome back to A Free Solution. I'm Kevin Wilson, your host today. Thanks again for joining us. Again, we're live here at WYSL until 1 p.m. Give us a call if you want. 585-346-3000, 585-346-3000. This is the last segment, so your last opportunity here. Or leave your comments online like our friend Peter did here. And again, we're joined by Lima Town Supervisor Mike Falk. And you know, we've been talking about to water districts, some high-speed internet stuff. And actually, Mike, there's a question I have because I just don't know how this works, and I'm sure many of the listeners don't too. I know, like at the county level, many of the county governments talk about like things like unfunded mandates. Do you guys have that at the town level? And if so, what does that look like?
Well, the unfunded mandates that we get come sometimes in the form of regulations that we have to put through with code enforcement, or things that the assessor's office would have to deal with. And quite honestly, things that the highway department is going to have to deal with. there's a lot of money that is freed up at New York State, which comes from every one of us, that goes to pay for road damage in the winter and fixing bridges and all of that other stuff. But they can change the rules in midstream, change exactly what you are supposed to be getting or should have gotten, or they promised that they would send. And so, like, as an example, last year, they sliced everything out. And because COVID didn't hit New York State until after we had collected all of the town taxes in the first quarter of the year, we were not budgeted necessarily to keep up with all of the things that we were going to do. So then you're going, in our case, to the savings account for the highway outside the village and paying for the balance of it. Then, of course, this year, New York State has received money from the federal government and is now trying to make it up to everybody by windfalling these things back in. With the other areas, there are a lot of rules and regulations that change all the time with assessment and code enforcement. New York State has a lot of regulations surrounding building codes, pools, even when it comes down to zoning. If you have a business that 50 years ago, 80 years ago, someone built on a hill because it was the best spot for everybody to get to, and it was a thriving restaurant for decades, but you have rezoned that area as residential. Now that particular property does not meet the current zoning, and if it goes sort of fallow or empty for a year, then you are not allowed to operate that as a business anymore. It has to become a home. That's a New York State rule.
I was going to ask that's a state rule, not like a town rule, or could you just issue a variance type of thing?
No, it's actually a New York State thing. So for the town, you would actually have to try to adjust the zoning in a town or village or wherever it is, in order so that didn't happen. But New York State rule, if it's zoned this way and it falls to the wayside for a little while, that's the case. So
suddenly the built use doesn't matter. It's well, you have this all zoned residential, so it's
exactly. So the code enforcement office is required to watch these places that go out of business to start the clock and see if somebody else picks it up and resumes business or not.
Wow, no, that's interesting. Okay, I for some reason I was under the impression that was mostly like a locally determined thing, but thank you for clarifying that. That's interesting that's a New York State rule that happens, because it's something that I've seen frustrate a number of local people, even in areas close to where I live too. So that's very interesting. And again, so we only have a few minutes. Like, are there any aspects of your relationship with the state, because based on the taxation, what happened here, the mandates and highway, that you'd want to see improved? Because the show is a free solution. How do we improve our governance between different levels, between the town, the state, or town and the county?
Well, we spend an awful lot of time at all levels of government looking at grants and funding and all of these other things which are offered by New York State and the federal government and private areas and just so many things. We expend at the state level an awful lot of money administering grants and all of that stuff. And so the thought comes to mind that maybe if we didn't quite send as much money and kept some of it, that maybe not as many of the grants would be necessary.
Right. So you end up in a position where, because taxes are taken out, you no longer have the resources to be able to improve your town independently.
Right. Or you've really got to raise taxes on your constituents in order to make things where they should be. So I don't know. So there are 5 different flavors of county government in New York State, and Livingston County is a board of supervisors. So by being a town supervisor, I'm the representative for our township at the county level also, as opposed to like Monroe County, which has a county executive and the county legislature. So we do weighted voting. So it's based on your population on the last census cycle. And each town has its own sort of level of voting. Lima would be the 6th largest right now in Livingston County. From the county perspective, a lot of unfunded mandates that have to do with the health area, health department, mental health, social services, those kinds of things, where New York will tell us exactly what has to be done, and sometimes they fund it, and sometimes they don't, and we simply have to do it. And sometimes it's a very weird mixture. So there is a program that is the Dwyer program that was brought out in New York State, which is supposed to help stem the tide of veteran suicide in our different areas by getting vets to connect with each other. That's really all it is. It's just peer-to-peer vets connecting to vets. Livingston County has not received any of that money ever. And so consequently, you can think of us as the control group. We have the highest suicide rate of veterans in New York State. Oh my God. So our board of supervisors is funding a outdoor RX program, exactly the same thing on their own, to try to get the rate down. And it's, there are different activities that are available for veterans, all free, just to get out, enjoy the outdoors, and, meet other vets and know that you are not out there by yourself.
Sounds like a wonderful program. And I kind of wish I had spent a bit more time during this interview talking to you about some of that stuff, and the county stuff too, because mostly we ended up talking about a lot of town stuff. But we only have like a minute left. So any last things to get in, or any other places where people should find information about you or the town?
Well, the place you live is what you make of it. Get involved. Go to a town board meeting, go to your village board meeting, consider serving on a committee or running for office, because you are the person that is going to make the place you live better.
I think that is a wonderful note to end on. Thank you so much, Mike Falk, Lima Town Supervisor, and we'll be back with more A Free Solution tomorrow. Talk to you then.